Many times I had a joke with my kids, like with my pupils, that I was teaching as a Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian as a mother tongue lessons because some of them didn't want to attend the lessons. And I was joking with them, either you hate your parents now or you hate them in 20 years.
Welcome to the episode 4 of the Babel Bureau, where European language policy gets decoded, debated, and sometimes lost in translation. I'm Dr. Alicia Pfeiffer, your guide through the maze of multilingualism. The Babel Bureau is co-founded by the European Union. The views expressed are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the views of the EU or the European Education and Culture Executive Agency. In episode 4, Dušica Božović explains why adapting the school to the needs of multilingual students actually benefits all students. Dušica is a language teacher who has worked in primary and secondary education, as well as with adult learners. She has written a book for parents and teachers on how to support students who learn through a second language. Stay with us to find out how parents and teachers can prepare for linguistic diversity in the classroom. Let's go!
The program is called Linguistic Diversity and Digital Humanities, and my thesis was on heritage languages, like how they're taught and how they're organized, and especially how this pluricentricity is treated in these lessons, because it's when you teach a mother tongue in diasporic context, it's actually first time that you have so many dialects together. Normally in the homeland, you are in the same group with the local speakers from the same local dialect. So then it causes a lot of problems for teachers, especially with languages that have several standard varieties. So I wrote about that, and attitudes of teachers and attitudes of parents about it. So I thought I would kind of specialize in multilingualism, in this Finnish as a second language topic, and I did internship in the City of Helsinki Educational Unit in one project that is related to education, like development of education of immigrants. And my task was to write a guide for the parents about this ESKAXI, how it's organized, and a guide for subject teachers, not Finnish language teachers, but the other subject teachers, how they can take into account that when they are teaching their subject, they are not teaching only subject, but the language of the subject. That was what I did. And then after that, I changed to work in a high school as some kind of multilingual instructor. And this is how I also got to know the high school. So I'm actually very happy that I managed to see all the different levels of education in practice.
Maybe now we focus more on your work at primary level education. Your task was to come up with the guide for teachers and also parents of children who are going to a Finnish language school, but the home language is something other than Finnish. So yes. How did you make that guide?
Well, first of all, I have to say that this whole project happened during Corona times. So the whole internship was just from home, and it was really difficult to search information. This was also before artificial intelligence, so I had to come up with everything, like what's going to be presented there. But basically, I collected relevant books. Whatever was written about it, I tried to read, and I also interviewed experts. These Finnish as a second language teachers. Most importantly, I went on Facebook to one Facebook group which gathers foreign parents in Finland, mothers, but also other kinds of parents. And I asked, what are the questions you would like to be answered in this guide? And I made this list of questions that must be answered.
Okay, I think great approach overall.
Yeah.
So, are there any misconceptions about Finnish as a second language education?
I'm not saying that there are many misconceptions, that other people have misconceptions. I can start with this, that I had a lot of misconceptions about Finnish as a second language. One of the common ones is that the child will be put in S2 group just because there is another mother tongue. I cannot say that it has never happened, but if it happened, it's wrong. This cannot be ordered, and the child cannot be put in this group. Parents are the ones who decide, and no matter how weak Finnish language is, or maybe even parents see that the child doesn't speak, their right is to say, I want my child to study Finnish as a first language. So this is the second misconception. The school is not making the decision, but the parents. Something that I myself didn't know, but the idea is to get temporary support and to return to Finnish as a mother tongue at some point. The idea is basically that you have checkpoints where you kind of try to see whether the child is now ready to go. The other thing that I think was a misconception, and also new for me, something that I clarified myself, is that this doesn't mean separation between kids.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about how is it different to study within the mother tongue group, and how is it then within the extra support system?
It depends a lot on the grade of the child. Because in the first 2 grades, there is no separation at all. They study all the time together. But in high school, those are different groups. So it really depends on the level of, the grade of the child. And there is a lot of things in between, like having 1 class separately and having 3 classes together with the rest of the group. So it really depends, and it doesn't mean many parents are scared that my child will not learn the language if they are learning it separately, if they are learning it with other immigrants. But actually, this is not what it is in practice, because in most of the cases they study together with the rest of the group. What is different is maybe tasks that they get, and the grading is actually working for them. So this child is not expected to know every single thing that a mother tongue speaker knows. And this is now just from my own private experience. One parent was very happy that her child was studying Finnish as a second language. His Finnish skills are excellent. He has always had grade 10 from it. It's a very good and smart student, but at one mother tongue like Finnish language exam, he didn't get punished because he didn't know the word navetta. But the child who spoke Finnish punished. This minus point. Yeah. But the child who speaks Finnish as a mother tongue is expected to know agricultural terminology. So I think it shows a very good point that there are benefits even for it. And I really like the point that this Finnish as a second language considers the child multilingual, and it actually wants to build it as a competent bilingual or multilingual speaker that can talk about different languages, compare them, and so on. So it's not taken as some kind of mistake of a child, but as just some kind of other.
Yeah, and I did an internship at a primary school some years ago, and it definitely now I recognize the system from my experience. And yes, there were some children who had this language support, and yes, they did have some like separate lessons for some subjects, but like most of the day they spent with their classmates who were just like Finnish as a mother tongue group.
Yes, yes.
And there were also different groups for kids where the home language was something else, or if one of the parents spoke Finnish. So they tried to, I think, take that into account.
Yes, yes, yes. I understand. And of course, I think that every child has an individual plan, and some as kaksi speakers, they need more individual teaching, and some they don't need at all. So they can study all the time with the main group, let's call it. So of course, I think there is nothing wrong if a child just moved to Finland, that they have some separate lessons so that something can be explained to them in a more kind of relaxed way, and just to more systematic way, so that they wouldn't be also frustrated in studying with the main group. Yeah, there is one interesting thing I want to tell you is that many times we discuss this, that people involuntarily were put into this Finnish as a second language group. But now when I have worked in schools, I have witnessed exactly the opposite, that sometimes it's the family or the child, actually the child that wants to be in Finnish as a second language, because they realize that their grade is going to be better in this group. And when I worked in a high school, okay, we are not talking about it right now, but this is when students actually make decisions about their studies themselves, like especially when they turn 18. But even before, many times parents just give the rights to the child to decide. And I have seen even monolingual Finnish speakers who, just because their one parent, usually a father, speaks another language, but not to them, and they speak Finnish only at home, they still choose Finnish as a second language because they don't want to bother with some like very advanced texts. They want to read something like maybe more popular, more practical, and something like that, because I think that in a high school, this Finnish as a second language also concentrates more on some practical use of language, less than on some very academically high language. So it's like I have witnessed the opposite, but this doesn't go to media because it's not so attractive as a story. Usually these unfair treatments are the ones.
Right. Yeah. Next, I wanted to ask about like the benefits of the system, this kind of dual system where the kids either do the like mother tongue path or the second language path. And I think we've already covered like two main benefits, which is that the program is adjusted. The requirements are adjusted to be like more fitting to someone who might not know, like might not have such sophisticated vocabulary about agriculture, for example. And then the texts are maybe more useful, like life skills. It's a way to develop also life skills that are maybe overlooked in the mother tongue path, right? Is there anything else that comes to mind?
So there is this kitchen language, as we call, and there is some academic language. And many times parents think that my child speaks this language perfectly because they are fluent in the language.
Yeah, at home they can like manage very well, talk about any adventure.
Yes. But they don't understand that the academic language is totally different register, and that the gap can be very big, even for monolingual speakers. And what I think is also important when studying is for each learner is self-confidence. And the idea of Finnish as a second language is also to gain self-confidence and to feel competent, and to emphasize that even though you don't have some competence in Finnish, you have some other competencies that other speakers don't have. So what I think is sometimes people say just put them studying with some would say normal learners, but these native speakers. Of course, it has benefits, but we also forget how it can affect somebody's self-confidence as a learner. And I have myself witnessed that. And when I studied, like after 5 years of living in Finland, I enrolled into the pedagogical studies in Finnish, and my Finnish wasn't strong at all then. Like, it was very surprising for me that I entered even this program. And I still remember how tough experience it was for my identity to somehow feel the most stupid in the class, even though it's not really that I'm the stupid one, but it was really feeling like that I'm the only one who doesn't get what's going on, and I do the wrong homework because I misunderstood what is a homework. For the first time, I knew how it felt to be in a majority group where you feel that you're the only one who doesn't get what the teacher is talking and what you're supposed to do. So I think this is why S-Kaksi is good, because you are with the peers together and you're equal there.
So the question is, how does S-Kaksi, so the Finnish as a second language education path, affect then access to later education, university admissions and so on?
So no one can say how students that currently attend the Finnish school will be treated in 10 years when they are applying for the university. That depends a lot on the political situation in Finland and on the policy makers at that time. They can be totally equally treated or not. We don't know it. But what I know is that right now it can affect, for example, studying to become a Finnish as a mother tongue teacher, that you have to have the record of studying Finnish as a mother tongue to be able to teach Finnish as a mother tongue, but not if you want to be an engineer. Many kids can start with Finnish as a second language and change to Finnish as a first language if they work hard and they develop nicely.
So maybe now we can talk about the teachers. As you said that your booklet is also meant for subject teachers who are not really trained in linguistics.
So what can help kids, I think, is first of all listed vocabulary that is going to be covered today, and even giving them time to study what it is called in their mother tongue. So this is also a nice research project, so that they can first spend some time in groups looking for what it means. And then it also builds their language awareness. And the other thing is making clear structure of the lesson. But when you actually think about all of these things, like giving clear structure of the lesson, explaining we are going from this point to this point, or these terms are going to be covered today, I think this is something that everybody benefits. So many times when we discuss what can help a Finnish as a second language learner, we actually come to a conclusion that no, everybody would actually be very happy to get this kind of clear guidance.
Okay, yeah, I think that is really important to mention, that this is not some kind of special group who needs special treatment, but like the tools that benefit them, then like everybody wins if these tools are applied. Clear structure and very clear expectations, right?
Yes, and repetition for a summary at the end of the class, and even presenting these terms in different languages in front of the whole group can be beneficial, because kids can also learn about similarities in terminology. Many times academic terminology is similar in different languages because it comes from Latin or Greek. So combine these subjects, which is also very much discussed in modern day Finnish school.
Yeah, and it also sounds like your suggestions, this is not something that really requires a huge policy shift necessarily, but it's something that like teachers can apply themselves without really even much extra training.
Yes, I think that just as teachers should learn about it, also parents should be trained to understand what it really is, and it would build more confidence in them and more trust in the system. Because I think that many times these kind of misunderstandings or even conflicts between school and home come from not understanding each other's perspective. Many times, like when we organize some info events in schools, like very small number of parents would come. I also wish that parents that have some unfair treatment can also get guidance how to be like helped in this situation, because now I've seen it from within the system that the system is not mean, but there is sometimes wrongdoing within the system. And this wrongdoing should be addressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I think that is maybe one of the things that also like Finland is praised for, that the education system is flexible enough.
I hope so, and I want to believe that Finland will keep embracing multilingualism. In 2033, 1/3 of metropolitan area, which means Helsinki, Vantaa, Espoo, Kauniainen, will speak Finnish, something else than Finnish or Swedish as a mother tongue. There is just no way to just ignore it.
I wanted to also ask you about what are the benefits of maintaining the heritage family language?
Well, first studies on multilingualism at the beginning of the 20th century were presenting bilingualism or multilingualism as affecting negatively intelligence and success in life. But already from the 60s, researchers started emphasizing the benefits of multilingualism. The generations that were born like in the 80s or 90s, they were still like taught just the majority language many times, not always, but many times it was common. But I think nowadays we live in these times where multilingualism is praised as and seen as some resource, and there is also a lot of exaggerations. It seems that it's not so big advantage, but definitely some practical advantage there is. And what I think is good is that it's at least treated as a normal thing, not something that should be abandoned. And so nowadays there is not so many of these situations that parents change their mother tongue. I think most often they don't change to Finnish, speaking Finnish only to their kids. But what I have seen is that other foreigners change to English in Finland, speaking only English to their children. And I can mostly give my own private opinion about this, and maybe not so much scientific. I think it's a big shame for practical reasons, because the child is basically quitting the connection to the rest of the family. Many times the rest of the family, like grandparents, they don't speak English, or they don't speak some or Finnish. And what I think and what I have witnessed as a teacher who used to work with kids and with adults is that these adults who were not taught their ancestors' language or like grandparents' language, they really regret it, and they are not happy about their parents' decision. But then it's too late. And many times they are really embarrassed of this situation, that they can have like a name that signalizes some origin, but they don't speak this language. And when somebody from the same country addresses them, that they are really embarrassed to say they don't speak any. And many times I had a joke with my kids, like with my pupils, that I was teaching as in this like Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian as a mother tongue lessons, because some of them didn't want to attend the lessons. Mm-hmm. And I was joking with them, either you hate your parents now or you hate them in 20 years. So it's good that they are putting the effort now.
We're changing a bit perspective to the heritage language education, that it is also challenging to be a teacher.
It's very, very complicated when you have this situation that a language is spoken in different countries, and suddenly you have a class where you have students from first grade to the 9th grade, plus some speak it really as their mother tongue. Maybe they just moved to Finland, or they just have such good upbringing at home that they learned it so well, but some don't speak it at all. And on top of it, you have this, that some kids speak this language from a country and some speak the variation from another country. And these varieties can be very, very different. The most common situation is with Portuguese. The situation is that there is European Portuguese from Portugal, and there is Brazilian, but of course Portuguese is spoken in, I think it's a standard language in maybe 6 or 7 more countries, I'm not sure. The issue there is that somehow traditionally this Portuguese from Portugal is considered the main. The most of speakers in Finland are from Brazil or in the world in general. So how to address this in one class? Then you have situation where Kurdish is called one language, but it has such strong like dialects like Kurmanji and Sorani that are written with different alphabets, and they don't understand each other. And on the other hand, you have languages that are politically different, Serbian, Croatian, Bosnian, Montenegrin, but they all understand each other, and they use different or same script. Okay, some use one script, some use 2 scripts. So these situations are very difficult to deal with, and it causes additional kind of stress for teachers how to address it. But all in all, I actually wrote my thesis on it. Many parents that answered the questionnaire were those who actually were happy that their children learned different varieties, and they thought it's really great that kids through that learn that there is not one and only way to speak one language. I really like this perspective that they somehow thought that it's teaching kids that there is no one proper way of being.
Yeah, very, very important. And also hats off to the teachers.
Many times teachers really suffer a lot. Now, seriously speaking, there are always many problems because of this. Parents interfere in this teaching a lot. Maybe they don't dare saying a Finnish teacher how they should teach, but they're saying it to their compatriot. This is how you should teach. I have seen it also when working in the employment services, that some of my clients who are mother tongue teachers, that they had to quit the job because of different bullying and things like that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's nice to kind of talk about diversity as a slogan. You know, in theory it's very nice, but in practice, of course, it's very tightly connected to politics.
Yes.
And there's like all kinds of extreme, strong feelings.
Yes. This is why I also came to a conclusion that also this heritage language teaching should start with some introductory notes on what is the purpose of this subject, what to answer questions even before they arouse, so that some kind of goals are set and some trust is built.
Yeah, and I think this is like a perfect conclusion to our talk today. Making the expectations like very, very clear from the beginning and building trusts between the systems and the users of the system. Thank you very much for your time. This was the Babel Bureau, a podcast about language policy in Europe. Today's guest was Dušica Božović, and we talked about supporting students who learn in a second language. I'm your host and producer, Alicia Pfeiffer from the University of Eastern Finland. Our music was made with Suno. The Babel Bureau is available to listen for free. This podcast is funded by the European Union under the PLURI project. PLURI is an initiative committed to fostering inclusive multilingual education for domestic and migrant linguistic minorities. For more information, visit our website at pluri-project.eu. Drop us a follow and don't miss stories about language.